seamless provisioning of Windows 365 Cloud PC for external identities with Microsoft Intune. So before we start, let me give a quick intro about myself, about me, Vaishnav, having 12 years of experience in IT, expertise in Intune, Windows 365, SCCM, and automation solutions. And this is my LinkedIn handle, so you can feel free to follow me over there as well. So regarding today's agenda, so I'll be covering what is external identities. This is the latest feature what Microsoft introduced very recently, and we'll talk about the benefits and the requirement of external identity. And since it is in public preview, there is a lot of limitations also there, so we'll discuss that as well. And we'll jump into a detailed demo, and we'll start creating and the configuration of external identity, and also the Windows 365 Cloud PC in Intune. And we'll also check the Windows 365 Cloud PC experience, and at the end we have a Q&A session, so you can feel free to ask your questions over there. So I'll start with what is external identity is. As the name suggests, external identity support you to allow or invite user from the other tenant to your Entra ID tenant. So which means you can add a guest user into a tenant, and you can give permission to have the resources handled in your organization or in your tenant. So that is all about the external identities, and there are several requirements and limitations when providing a cloud PC to external identities. So in Windows 365 support external identity in preview, as we already discussed, and you can now provision Cloud PC for your external identities, and there is no changes. So if you're talking about the process, there is no such changes in the administrative flow to provision a Cloud PC. So how you are provisioning an on-prem user or the same Entra ID user, so the similar way the provisioning policy will go through, and it will also support both enterprise and frontline Cloud PCs. Now we'll check about the licensing of external identities. And if you're using Windows 365 with external identity, there may be special consideration for how you license other product and services for Microsoft for those external identities. So which means the license is assigned to an external collaborator in their own tenant, generally do not concur the entitled Windows 365 or other products within your tenant. So just assume I already I am a contractor, and I invited as a guest in one of the other tenant. So if my organization I do have certain licenses or certain permission that does not concur if you are added as a guest user in a particular tenant. So from that tenant, you have to get certain licenses. That's how all about this. And therefore, Microsoft generally recommend purchasing the same sort of licenses as you purchase for the internal user and assigning it to an external collaborator identity in your tenant. So we already discussed, and for example, I will take an example of Microsoft 365 app alongside with your Windows 365 Cloud PC, and your external collaborator needed same entitlements to purchase the Microsoft 365 app license and assign it to an external collaborator in your tenant. So don't worry, we'll check all these scenarios in detail. And similarly, the license assigned to a user in one tenant of multi-tenant organization generally do not concur the entitlement of Windows 365 or any other products within the tenant of your organization. So therefore, Microsoft generally recommend purchasing a license for each user in each tenant which access rights are required. And there is an exception in Entra ID. So only Entra ID P1 license are required per employee per multi-tenant organization. So that is one point. Right. Now let's check about the requirements. So Cloud PC operating system, since it's a latest edition, so Microsoft support or the Cloud PC must be running on Windows 11 Enterprise version 24H2 or the September month KB cumulative update mentioned here, right? So the KB 5035789 or later should be available. So then only we can add external identity or we can assign external identities to our Cloud PC. So that is one requirement. And the other requirement is Cloud PC join type. The Cloud PC must be Entra joined. That is the requirement, and there is a SSO requirement, right? So it's a single sign-on must be configured while we are configuring the provisioning policy. And regarding Windows App Client, the external identity must connect via the normal Windows app, or you can leverage normal web browser via using windows.cloud.microsoft.com, the latest URL, or you can probably go with the normal URL what we are using throughout this time, right? Windows365.microsoft.com. That also possible. And regarding the license perspective, we already discussed, but we need to ensure that the external identity have a proper entitlement for softwares and services on the Cloud PC, and before your user can gain access to the Cloud PC, and you must purchase a Windows 365 license. For the customers can purchase Windows 365 as a separate license per user, and it is basically working on per monthly basis. So that is the other requirement. And since we already mentioned the feature is currently in public preview, we do have certain limitations. So Intune device configuration policy, if suppose you are configuring a device configuration policy assigned to an external identity, won't be applied to the users in the Cloud PC. So instead, what you can do is you can configure it as a device basis. So that is the one limitation actually. And the other limitation is Windows 365 government availability. So only Windows 365 commercial, which means the enterprise, business, and frontline editions are supported. And as of now, Windows 365 government cloud is not supported. And regarding the cross cloud invites, the cross cloud invites are not supported. So you can only provide Cloud PC to users, or you can invite from the social identity, which means the Microsoft Entra users and Microsoft Azure commercial cloud user identities. But you cannot invite users from the Azure government cloud or Azure operator 21 VNet. So these are not allowed. And regarding the token protection, Microsoft has certain limitation for the protection of external identities. And the other main point is the Kerberos authentication, which means the external identities can't authenticate on-prem resources using Kerberos or NTLM protocol, which means whenever the external user is trying to access a file share from the on-prem environment, since it is using the Kerberos and NTLM protocol normally, so that is not possible. So that is the limitations as of now. And regarding one particular registry add or the registry addition which require for the Windows app clients, right? So when you're using Windows app for Windows, you must set a registry key on the device running the Windows app to complete the B2B login, which means you can still able to access or still to switch the B2B login in browser. But if you're using Windows app, so you should be add these particular registry to the system. So which means basically what it will do is it will create Windows app folder under HK local machine, and under flights you can see the enable ID sign in UX. So the binary value will be created and the value is 1. So this is the default value. So we will be creating this particular registry also if you are using Windows app to connect Cloud PCs. Now let's just understand what exactly the org chart or how we can approach this. So let me quickly open this one, and I'm just considering HTMD. HTMD is my client and the organization, the parent organization, and this is the VK organization, which means contractors, vendors, or suppliers, or whatever it may be. So initially, what will happen in the traditional method? So whenever we are taking any contractors or suppliers for the project purpose and all, we used to create identities in our own tenant. So if I'm taking 50 or 100 contractors for a particular project, we have to create identities in my parent tenant, right? So but with this external identity, they can still able to use their own credentials. So and we will give that privilege to them to access our resources. That's what exactly we are going to do right now. And I just already mentioned about the external username. Right now I'm just going with the external user, I mean the test user 2, which is already a on-prem user of my um, organization, which means the contractor or vendor organization, and I am getting access to this organization, I mean the HTMD organization. So that's what we are exactly trying to look now. And also we'll create the provisioning policies, and we'll invite the users first, and we'll assign the provisioning policy. On top of that, if there is a user settings also should be added, um, um, and that also will configure. And this is the permission required by invite URL. So just whenever we are inviting a user, the guest user, usually it will give a pop-up to us, which will ask for receive data, and I mean the collect and log of our activity, and it will use your profile and data for the activity data. So these are the options or the permission usually when we add a user as a guest in your tenant. So these are the permission it will generally ask. Now we will start a detailed demo, and we'll check what and all things we need to configure to get this external identity accepted in your tenant. And this one, the VK organization. And as I already mentioned, I already have a user available here, test user 2. And when I'm checking this particular user in my the parent tenant, so that user is not available. Only test user 1 is available. That I just added yesterday for just testing purpose. So what we'll do right now is we will add this user as a guest user, or we'll invite an external user. So what I'm going to do is I'm doing everything in Intune portal itself. You can leverage, since it's tightly integrated in Entra, and Intunes are integrated. So we can do it either Entra, Azure, wherever it is possible, but I'm just leveraging Intune for all this configuration. So what I'll do is, this is my client or the parent organization tenant. So I'm just inviting the contractor here. So I'll click on invite external users, and first thing I need to use the user principal name, so which is test user 2 at the domain name of the contractor, and I'll just mention this one as a test user 2 here. And we'll also send an invite to the user. Just mention please join HTMD org or something we'll put. And this is the invitation URL. So what we'll do is we'll just for the future reference, we'll copy this URL. But additionally, what I am also doing, I'll send this invitation message so that user will get a mail from our tenants regarding this external identity or invitation. So now I'll click on properties. I click on next and properties, and the usage location. So this user, we need to add particular license. So we need to add a usage location, then only the license assignment will success. So I'll just add India, so usage location, and click on assignment and review and invite. Correct. So now, right now you can see the test user one only available. So whenever the other user, the contractor or vendor accept the invitation, so they will get added to our tenants. I'll quickly jump to my client tenant, and first I'll check the email. Since we already sent out an email, you can see the invitation I already received. As a contractor, I already received the invitation, and right now I'll accept the invitation. So basically it will check whatever I just mentioned in my PPT. So it will receive what and all documents or the permission it will collect is it will receive your profile data and collect log or collect and log your activity. So you can also see the description of each points, right? So and use your profile data and activity data. And if you're okay with these conditions, and you can click on accept. So once I click on accept, I'll quickly jump back to my HTMD tenant, and right now you can see this particular user is added as a guest user, and you can also see and right now there is no licenses activated or assigned to this particular user. All right. So right now what we'll do is we'll since the next step is our cloud PC creation or the policy creation, provisioning policy creation, we will add this under a external users group so that we can easily assign the licenses to these users. So what I'll do is I'll just click on groups. I already created an external user group which only have one user, that is test user one. And now what I'll do is I'll add this user, I mean the test user 2 also in that tenant, I mean in that particular group. So I'll just add this one. I'm just waiting for the refresh. I think both are guest users, and we already have a user group only for the guest user. Now what we'll do is we'll quickly move back to our devices, and under device and onboarding click on Windows 365, and under that you can see these are the cloud PC that is available for me right now. And right now I'll create on I'll create provisioning policy, click on create policy. I'll just name the policy as provisioning policy for external users. Provisioning policy for external users, and the experience I'll go with allow a full cloud PC desktop, and I'll go with the enterprise license one. You can also leverage the frontline license. And since it's a test environment, I'll just go with the joining type Microsoft Entra join, and the network is Microsoft hosted network, and the geography, since my client is from the India location, so I'll go with India, and the region is automatically, that is the recommended option. And as we discussed in our theoretical part, so you can see the Microsoft single sign-on option over here. So we have to check this option, then only we can use the external identity cloud PC for the external identities. So now we'll click on next, and here we can choose any of the gallery images. So as per our external identity requirement, so the minimum version is 24s2 and later. So I'll go with the latest option, that is Windows 11 Enterprise Microsoft 365 apps 25s2, and I'll go for the configuration. So this is the basic Windows settings, and I'll go with the language and region as United States. And here I just need a Cloud PC naming. Since this identity, this user or this guest users are external identities, I just wanted to differentiate between the normal Cloud PCs and the external Cloud PC. So I'll just go with this naming convention. So since it is an external, I just go with external and hyphen. I'll go with username, and it will take the 5 character from the username, and hyphen will get add a random character, the random 5 character over here. So which means it will start with ext name, and it will take the five characters in my username, and there is another random characters are added in the Cloud PC naming. And the additional services, you can also have an option to add Windows Auto Patch, but right now I'm just going with none. I can manage the patching via normal rings only. So I'll just click next, and under scope tag I will leave it as default, and the assignment, right? So what I'll do is I'll just add the group what we created recently, the external user group, which also contain the test user 1 and test user u external user. Now I'll click next, and once I review all this configuration whatever we have done so far, I'll click on create. Okay. So what happened is I already have the same policy name, so I'll just go with user demo. Yeah. Yeah, now the policy is created successfully. You can see our demo provisioning policies created successfully, and only few changes and few requirements what we already discussed in our PPT presentation. So right now our policies, the provisioning policies configured, and right now what we can do is we can just go to M365 admin center, and will assign Cloud PC license to our external user. So I'll just log into admin center, and under user we'll verify our guest user once again. So if you click on guest user, right? So if you click on guest user, you can see all the guest user available in my tenant. Previously, I only had the new user 1 and the test user 1. Now I recently added, just now added the test user 2. All right. Now what we can do is we'll assign the license to our test user 2. For that, I'll just click on billing, and under click on license. Under license, you can able to see 5 out of 5 licenses added, which means I already Yeah, I'll click on the M365 or the Windows 365 Enterprise Cloud PC license, and you can see only 4 users are assigned. But what I have done is, since I already added external user, it's a group, right? So it consists of 2 more users. So if I'm opening this external user and click on successfully assigned, you can see the test user 1 was already assigned, and I already created a test user 1 cloud PC for test user 1, but test user 2 is recently added. So in production scenario, we'll usually follow the group concept, but you can all rights to assign an individual license for individual identity. That also possible. So that's the reason it's now showing it as 5 out of 5. Now, now we'll jump back to our Intune portal and click on devices. And if I click on Windows 365, you can able to see one cloud PC started provisioning, and you can see the username is the test user 2. So which means since we already assigned the license, it started provisioning, and it will take another 15 to 20 minutes to complete the installation. So before that slide, as we already discussed, there is a particular registry key we need to add if we are using Cloud PC in our Windows app, right? So this is the registry key I was referring. So usually we need to add Windows app, and this enable ID sign in UX, and the value should be 1. And the other option, I think we already discussed this one also regarding regarding the permission, and when external user or the guest user is invited, usually they will get this messages from the main vendor, right? So whenever they are accepting the condition. And this is the screenshot of before we are adding the registry key. So you don't have an option to sign into the other option, other organization. So once you added that particular registry key, you can able to see the sign in option is available, and you can click on sign into an organization, and after that you can initially it will target your organization. So what you need to do, just click on here, and you need to change your organization to default, which means the parent organization, and then it will ask for the normal RDP access, the initial configuration, and that's how the process will work. But with the interest of time, I already at external user test 1 yesterday. So we'll try to log in with that Cloud PC. So I'll just open a new tab. Windows.cloudpc.microsoft. Under provisioning, it will take another couple of minutes. I think 15 to 20 minutes it will take. So whenever you initially logged in, right, so you will get this error. So but don't worry, what you can do is you can just switch your organization to default directory. So once you switch your organization to default directory, you can able to see the Cloud PC assign. And the initial configuration is like this. You need to click on allow, and it will ask to grant permission. So the same screenshot what I showed you just few minutes back. And this is my Cloud PC name, the external, the first 5 letter and the random 5 character. I'll just click on yes. And it will start signing to my new Cloud PC, which is assigned to an external user. It will take another 1 or 2 minutes or for the initial sign up. And meanwhile, what we can check is we already discussed about the registry key, right? So the initial setup, whenever we are using this particular option, right? So you won't get that option to switch the external user. I can just execute the PowerShell command just to add that registry key. I'll just copy this one. I already opened a PowerShell window and just executed. I think that registry is added now. We'll verify once again. You can see Windows app is now added. Under flights, you can see the registry key is added right now. Now, if I'm closing this app and reopening again, you can see the switch user organization option is available right now. So initially it won't be available, but whenever you are creating that particular option or that particular registry, right? So it will get added so that it's our Cloud PC. I think our Cloud PC is already ready, and I'll just check the host name. And this is the host name of the device. I think we already checked this one in the Intune portal as well. And right now, what we can do is we can execute a command, which is reg cmd slash status. So you can see this identity here. Just a moment. So if you check on the tenant details, and these tenant detail tenant ID is coming from my parent organization, and the user, right? So you can see the user, even though it is not in our tenant, it's logging with the external identity, and that's how we will confirm. And that's why we can conclude the external identity is working fine. So if I'm checking it is an admin, I mean running it as an admin, so it won't get the admin permission, because it's not a local admin. The user is not part of the local admin. So what for that, what you can do is you can create a user settings under Windows 365 user settings, and we'll start creating a user settings for external users, and based on your requirement, right? So if you want to give a local admin access to your external user, you can check this option. And regarding the reset of their Cloud PC, if you want to allow that option, you can do that. And the restore service also, again, based on your requirement, you can configure this. And the disaster recovery settings, right? Will go with the disaster recovery plus the latest option, and it will initially take it from the Microsoft hosted network. And the geography, I'll just go with India. And the automatic or recommended method, right? So that is the region. And you can, if you want the user to perform the disaster recovery, there you can allow this option as well. I'm just allowing all these options. And assignment, I will assign the same group and click next. So once you review all your settings, you can click and create the user settings policy also. Again, this is optional. So if you want to give admin access or some extra privileges to the user, you can add these settings. Otherwise, you should be good with the normal provisioning policy, whatever we configured as of now. So right now also it's still under provisioning. So it will take 15 to 20 minutes to complete the whole provisioning process. But you can already see that how the normal external user Cloud PC looks like. And we already checked the dsreg command as well. Yep. Good. All right. Yeah. So this was the Cloud PC in provisioning mode. Now it is completely provisioned. And some option also we discussed during our PPT presentation, that is the login, right? So when I thought, again, I can show that as well, leverage Windows app itself. So if I'm logging to Windows app, just go with signing with another account, probably go with the new user, test user 2. Sorry, so here is the thing. So right now our identity is external, so we have to log in with sign in with new option, sign in with options. And there is a particular option over here, I think we already discussed in our PPT presentation, but still again, this sign in with an organization and the domain name. I'll just go with the domain name and the username of the user, so which is test user 2. Test user 2. And looking for, all right. So right now you can see our Cloud PC is ready. It is test user 2. And as I already discussed, so if you want to switch back, so that is possible. But right now I just wanted to connect with this PC. The new host name of this test2 assigned Cloud PC. I'm just verifying that names and allow the remote desktop connection. And yeah, Cloud PC is ready right now. And this is the thing I just wanted to show you, because I think my initial test case, I didn't configure the user settings, right? So during the demo, I configure user settings, which also allowed the admin privilege for this external user. So you can see I have admin privilege, and whatever the configuration, the disaster recovery, and the reset option, everything, all the permission will get this Cloud PC under this particular user. So that's all I wanted to show you. So the rest everything I think we already discussed. Yeah, thank you.